12th Science, Chapter 9, Coordination Compounds, Nomenclature and Bonding of Complexes.
Hello students, I am Madhusina, your chemistry teacher. Watch my YouTube videos, like and subscribe it for further notification. In this video, we will study about coordination compounds, some important terms related to it and nomenclature of coordination compounds. The compounds in which the central metal atom is joined to a number of ions, neutral molecules by coordinate bond is known as coordination compounds. These coordination compounds are also known as salts or complexes. Now, there are three types of coordination compounds: cationic complexes, anionic complexes and neutral complexes. Cationic complexes, the complexes which carries net positive charge is known as cationic complexes. The complexes which carries net negative charge is known as anionic complexes. And the complexes which carries no charge is known as neutral complexes. We should not confuse between the terms double salt and complex salt. Let us study the difference between double salt and complex salt. Double salt. Complex salt means coordination compounds. Double salts contains two or more simple salts in equimolar ratio. Complex salts may or may not be in equimolar ratio. Double salts lose their identity when dissolved in water as they are completely dissociated. Complex salts retain their identity when dissolved in water as they are not completely dissociated because the coordination sphere they remain intact. Double salts are ionic compounds and do not contain any coordinate bonds. Complex salt may or may not be ionic compounds, but the complex part contains coordinate bonds where the central metal atom is bonded with the ligands. Example of double salt is Mohs salt, potash alum, whereas for complex salt we are having potassium hexacyanidopherrate 4 complex. Let us define some terms pertaining to coordination compounds. Coordination entity is the central metal atom or ion which is bonded to a definite number of ions or molecules which is fixed. Central metal atom is surrounded and coordinately bonded to one or more neutral molecules or negatively charged ions. Ligands are the ions or molecules bonded to central metal atom or ion in the coordination entity. The number of atoms of ligands that are directly bonded to the central metal atom or ion by coordinate bond is known as coordination number of the central metal atom or ion. Coordination sphere. The central metal atom or ion and the ligands that are directly attached to it is enclosed in a square bracket. This is called as coordination sphere. A coordination polyhedron is the spatial arrangement of the ligand atoms that are directly attached to the central metal atom. Oxidation number of the central metal atom is defined as the charge that the central metal atom would carry if all the ligands are removed along with their electronic pairs. Complexes in which the central metal atom is coordinated with only one kind of ligands are called homoleptic complexes,
whereas the complexes in which the central metal atom is bonded with more than one kind of ligands are called heteroleptic complexes. Rules for naming coordination compounds. Cation is named first followed by anion. The name of the ligands are cited first followed by the name of central metal atom. The name of the central metal atom in the complex cation and neutral molecules have no specific ending, but the name of the central metal atom in anionic ligand has ending 8. While citing the ligands, it is done in alphabetical order. The name of the anionic ligands has ending O. Neutral ligands have no ending and cationic ligands have ending EM. Prefix mono, di, tri, tetra, etc. are used for indicating the number of ligands. In case the ligands have numerical prefix, then prefix like bis, tris, tetrakis is used, and the name of the ligand is enclosed in parentheses. The oxidation number of the central metal atom is always indicated in Roman numerals in parentheses. Here is the list of some ligands and their oxidation number. If the central metal atom is present in anionic complex, then 8 is used. For example, lead is written as plumbate, copper as cuprate, silver as arginate, Fe as ferrate. Let us understand the naming of some IUPAC. Let us understand the naming of coordination compounds. This complex is given to us. First of all, observe it and then try to find out whether it can be dissociated into ions or not. Here, it can be dissociated like this: KCOONO6. Now, this is the charge here, and nothing is here means 1 is the charge of potassium. Now, as we know that potassium is positively charged, so obviously this part will be negatively charged. Now, in the next step, identify your central metal atom and try to calculate its oxidation number. X plus 6 into minus 1 is the oxidation number of this, is equal to the total charge carried on the complex. Therefore, X is equal to plus 3. So, this is the oxidation number of the central metal atom. Now, the rule says that cation is named first followed by anion. So, our cation is potassium. It's a counter ion. So, space. Now, this part is to be named now. Now, in this, ligand is named first followed by name of the central metal atom. Now, if ligands are more in number, we have to use numerical prefix. So, hexa. This is anionic ligand. So, ending O will come. Nitrito. And since O is the point of attachment, O. Now the name of the central metal atom, it is cobalt. But since cobalt is present in anionic complex, it is written as cobaltate. And the oxidation number of central metal atom in Roman numeral in parentheses. So the name is potassium hexanitrito O cobaltate 3. Similarly, this complex can be divided into cation and anion. The coordination sphere remains intact, and Cl3 is the charge of this coordination sphere, and nothing is here means 1 is the charge on Cl. Since Cl is negatively charged, automatically coordination sphere will bear positive charge. Now identify the central metal atom and calculate its oxidation number. X plus 6 into amine is having 0 oxidation number, plus 2 into H2O also has 0 oxidation number is equal to the total charge carried by the complex. Therefore, X is equal to plus 3. So, this is the oxidation number of central metal atom. Now, cation is named first followed by anion. A cation is complex. So, ligands are named first followed by name of central metal atom. Now, since it is a heteroleptic complex, you have to follow alphabetical order. This is amine starting from A. Aqua also starts from A. So, you have to see the next letter M and Q. So, we will write hexaamine diaqua. Now the name of the central metal atom, since it is present in cationic complex, no ending. Cobalt. Oxidation number of the central metal atom in Roman numeral, and chloride is the counter ion. Now you can see this complex cannot be dissociated into positive and negative ions. So we will move on to the next step of identifying the central metal atom and calculate its oxidation number. Ammonia having 0 plus 2 into minus 1 is equal to no net charge is there on the complex. So 0. Therefore X is equal to plus 2. Now here cation is named first followed by anion, that we have to ignore. Ligands are named first followed by the name of central metal atom, and it is heteroleptic complex. So you have to follow alphabetical order for naming the ligands. Amine starts from A, chlorido starts from C. So diamine, dichlorido, platinum, because the central metal atom in neutral complexes has no ending and the oxidation number of it in Roman numeral within parenthesis. In case the coordination compound has both complex cation and anion, follow this trick for naming. If the coordination number is 6, then the oxidation number of the metals belonging to 3D series is plus 3. PT and PD exist in plus 4 oxidation state. Coordination number 4, PT plus 2, PD plus 2, Zn plus 2, CD plus 2, Ag plus 2, Hg plus 2, etc. When coordination number is 2, Cu, Ag and Au exist in plus 1 oxidation state.
Let us name the coordination compound having complex cation and complex anion. For example, you can see in this both are having a coordination sphere. Now, when they divide, they are going to split into ions with this intact identity. This part is not going to get dissociated. Now, how to name it? Now, the first portion is always considered as a cation. Keep this in mind. The first part is always considered as cation and the other part is considered as anion. So when it is going to split, it is going to divide like this. Right? It is going to divide. Now, we don't know what is the charge on both these. Right? So I am just putting it down like this. CrNH3 6. I don't know the charge on it. Let it be X. And COOX thrice. We don't know the charge on this. This part is cation, this part is anion. Now, you have to identify the central metal. Take any of the part, any part. I am taking this part. This is my central metal atom. Right? Now, what should be the oxidation number of this central metal atom? Now, according to the trick which I have given you, if the central metal atom is bonded with 6 ligands, if the coordination number of central metal atom is 6, then in that case, the elements of 3D series. That means scandium, titanium, vanadium, they rarely form coordination complexes. So we should start from chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper and zinc. All these elements, they are in +3 oxidation state. That means we know that +3 is the oxidation state of chromium. Now let us calculate this y. 3 plus 6 into 0 is equal to x. Therefore, x is equal to +3. So, we know the charge on this. It is +3. Now, since the complex is neutral, so automatically the charge on this is going to become -3. Now, calculate the oxidation number of this. X plus 3 into OX oxalate is having -2 is equal to -3. Therefore, X is equal to +3. Now, follow the rules of naming. Cation is named first followed by anion. Both are complex. So, ligand is named first followed by name of central metal atom. So, I will write hexammine, chromium. Oxidation number of this in Roman numeral in parenthesis. We have named the cation part hexammine, chromium 3. Now the anionic part, ligand is named first followed by name of central metal atom, trioxalato cobaltate 3. Take another example. Now this part is our cation and this part is anion. So when they are going to split, they will split like this: AgNH3 whole twice X and AgCN whole twice Y. So they are going to split like this. Now silver is the central metal atom. Take any one. Attach with 2 ligands. So we already know that when silver has coordination number 2, what is the oxidation number of silver? Silver is existing in +1. So using this +1 +2 into 0 is equal to x. So x is equal to +1. So if this is +1, then definitely this is going to be -1 because our complex is neutral. Now using this, calculate the oxidation number of this. X plus 2 into -1 is equal to -1. So x is equal to +1. So now we know cation is named first followed by anion. So we will start. Ligand is named first followed by the name of central metal atom. So diamine silver. 1 is the oxidation number in Roman numeral. Then dicyanide. Now this silver is present in anionic complex, and in anionic complex silver is termed as argentate. So we will write argentate. And 1 is the oxidation number in parenthesis. Here are some tricks to identify weak and strong field ligands. Ligands in which the donor atoms are halogen, oxygen or sulfur are called weak field ligands. They do not induce pairing, whereas ligands in which the donor atoms are carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, etc. are strong field ligands and they induce pairing of electrons. Let us study the bonding in this complex using VBT. NiCN4 minus 2. It is an anionic complex where 4-cyanide is the ligand and nickel is the central metal atom. So in the first step we will calculate the oxidation number of the central metal atom X plus 4 minus 1 is the oxidation number of cyanide is equal to minus 2. So X is equal to plus 2. Now we know that nickel has atomic number 28. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d8 is the configuration. This is the outermost valence shell. N is equal to 4. Now in N is equal to 4, we are having 4p and 4d vacant orbitals also. These are present even though they are not occupied, but they are present. Now since here metal is present in plus 2 oxidation state, Ni plus 2 is equal to 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6. The electrons will be lost from the outermost orbital, 2 electrons, so 4s0, 3d8, and these two are already present, 4p0 and 4d0. If they are required, then they will undergo bonding, otherwise they will remain vacant. Now, let us draw the orbital diagram. This is 3d, this is 4s, we are having 4p also, we are having 4d also. We will be writing if we require. In 3D, 8 electrons are there. So, according to Hund's rule of filling, first the orbitals are singly occupied before pairing take place. We have no electron in 4s, no in 4p, no electron in 4d. Now, check the nature of the ligand which is attached to the central metal atom. Since Cn is a strong ligand, how we have recognized that it is a strong ligand? Cn attaches through carbon and therefore it is a strong ligand. It will induce pairing. Induce pairing means what it is going to do when cyanide ligand will approach closer. All these electrons are pushed closer. So what is going to happen? All these electrons, this is already paired, so there is no need. This is also paired, this is also paired, so they will not get affected. These two electrons will come and occupy this orbital with opposite spins. Now this becomes vacant. Then 4s is already there, 4p is already there. Now, central metal atom is bonded with 4 ligands. So, one of the ligand will bond here with this, overlap with this. Another one will overlap here, third and fourth. So, you can see here 1d, 1s and 2 orbitals are undergoing hybridization. So, what we are having? D sp2 hybridization. So from this D sp2 hybridization we can make out the geometry. What is the geometry of this complex? Square planar is the geometry of the complex. We can also deduce the magnetic property of this complex. See the electrons, all the electrons are paired here. So it is having diamagnetic nature. In other words, right, if we can see this particular complex, since all the electrons are paired, therefore, the electrons will not undergo excitation and it is not going to exhibit any color. So, sometimes they can ask you a question that prove that NiCN4 is colorless. So, this we can prove using the magnetic property that since they are diamagnetic, excitation of electron is not taking place, resulting into a colorless compound. Let us understand the bonding in this coordination complex NiH2O6 plus 2 by valence bond theory. NiH2O6. Ni is bonded with 6 H2O ligand. Now first of all, calculate the oxidation number of the central metal atom. Ni plus 2 is the total charge carried by this complex. So x plus 6 into 0 is equal to plus 2. Therefore x is equal to plus 2. That means nickel here is present in plus 2 oxidation state. Now nickel atomic number is 28. So this is the general electronic configuration: 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d8. Now the valence shell here is 4s. In this 4s valence shell, empty 4p and 4d orbitals are also present, which do not contain any electrons. So we have written this vacant orbitals also, 4p0, 4d0 also. Now Ni in plus 2. So the 2 electrons are lost from the valence shell. So we get the configuration like this: 4s0, 3d8, 4p0 and 4d0 is already present in the valence shell, but they are unoccupied. So when we put down the orbital diagram, we are going to have 4d also here. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. You know 4 sub-orbitals are there in 4d. 4p is also vacant. 4s also there is no electron, and 8 electrons are occupied in 3d orbital. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Rules of filling is being filled according to Hund's rule. Orbitals are first singly occupied before pairing takes place. Now see the nature of the ligand present here. H2O. H2O bonds through oxygen. So since H2O is a weak ligand, it do not induce pairing. It will not allow pairing of electrons. So all the electrons will remain as it is here in the 3d orbital. Now nickel is bonded with 6 ligands. So these 6 ligands will occupy the vacant orbitals, resulting into S1s, 3p and 2d. sp3d2 hybridization. So what is the geometry of this compound? Octahedral. This type of complexes are also known as high spin or outer orbital or spin-free complex. Why? You can see from the hybridization, the outer d orbital is involved in the bonding. Therefore, we call it as outer orbital complex. Spin-free, forceful pairing has not taken place. So, spin-free or high-spin complex. And if we talk about its magnetic property, it is paramagnetic in nature. Let us understand bonding in this complex Cr(NH3) 6+3. First of all, the central metal atom is chromium. Let us calculate the oxidation number of chromium. X, it is bonded with 6 ligands. Amine is having 0 oxidation number. So we get X is equal to +3, which is the oxidation number of central metal atom chromium. Now chromium atomic number is 24. Its general electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s1, 3d5. And these are the vacant orbitals which are present in the valence shell. Our valence shell is this 4. N is equal to 4. Now chromium here is in +3 oxidation state. So the electrons will be lost from the valence shell. 1 electron is there. We have to lose 3 electrons. So 2 more will be lost from the next orbital. So we will have the configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s0, 3d3. 2 from here and 1 from here. Total 3 are lost. 4p0, 4d0. Let us draw the orbital diagram. This is our 3d orbital. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 suborbitals are there. 4s, 4p, If required, then we will draw 4D also. Now arrange the electrons. 3 electrons are present in 3D orbital, vacant 4s and vacant 4p orbital. Now check the nature of the ligand. NH3 is a strong ligand. So what it should do? Strong ligands always induce pairing, forceful pairing. But in this case, NH3 do not induce pairing. This is an exceptional case. Exception. Why NH3, even though it is a strong ligand, is not inducing pairing? NH3 is a strong ligand, but here it do not induce pairing. Why? Because in case of chromium, already there was an excitation of electron to attain stability. So ammonia, even though it is a strong ligand, do not induce pairing, as already in chromium there was excitation of electrons to attain stability. Keep this in mind. Before only it was excited for stability. Otherwise we were having the configuration 4s2. 4s orbital gets filled first. But since it was very close to stability, one electron from 4s was excited to 3d orbital. So here ammonia is not going to induce pairing. So we will have the electrons like this. They are not going to get paired. So we are having the orbitals. This is 4p, this is 4s and 3d. Now it is bonded with 6 ligands. So 6 atomic orbitals of the central metal atom will undergo hybridization to form 6 hybrid orbitals, which will be overlapped by the atomic orbitals of the ligand to form bonds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 orbitals will undergo hybridization, forming D2sp3 hybrid orbitals, or the hybridization is D2sp3. So what is the geometry of this? The geometry is octahedral. And what can you say about its magnetic property? It is paramagnetic in nature. And since it is paramagnetic, these electrons can get excited, forming a colorful complex. So that is why CrNH3 6 plus 3 is a colored compound. It is paramagnetic in nature and has an octahedral geometry.
Let us understand the crystal field theory by the upcoming video.
Crystal field theory was proposed by Hans Bethe and Van Vleck. This theory gives a much more satisfactory explanation for the bonding and the properties of complexes than the valence bond theory. The crystal field theory is based on certain assumptions. The interaction between the metal ion and the ligand is purely electrostatic. That is, the metal-ligand bonds are 100% ionic in nature. Negative ligands are treated as point charges, and neutral ligands are treated as dipoles. Thus, the bonding in the complex may be an ion-ion interaction or anion dipole interaction. The 5d orbitals in an isolated gaseous metal atom or ion are degenerate. That is, they all have the same energy. However, when the ligands approach the metal ion to form a complex, the electrons in the d orbitals of the metal will be repelled by the negative charge or lone pair electrons of the ligands due to the repulsion between the like charges. As a result, the energy of the d orbitals increases and the degeneracy of the d orbitals is lifted. It results in the splitting of the d orbitals. The pattern of splitting of the d orbitals depends on the number of ligands and their arrangement around the central metal atom or ion. Let's look at the application of the crystal field theory to octahedral complexes. In octahedral complexes, the metal ion is at the center of the octahedron, and the 6 ligands lie at the 6 corners of the octahedron along the 3 axes X, Y, and Z as shown here. The approach of the ligands towards the central metal ion is considered a 2-step process. In the first step, it is assumed that the ligands approach the metal ion spherically, that is, at the same distance from each d orbital. At this stage, the energy of all the d orbitals is raised by the same amount. That is, the 5d orbitals still remain degenerate. The average value of the energy of the d orbitals at this stage is taken as 0. And this is called the Barry center. However, out of the 5 d orbitals, 2, that is, the dx square minus y square and dz square orbitals, which are collectively known as the EG set of orbitals, are oriented along the axes towards the direction of the ligands. Thus, the EG set of orbitals will experience more repulsion than the remaining 3 d orbitals. That is, the dxy, dxz, and dyz orbitals, which lie in between the axes. These 3 d orbitals are collectively known as the T2g set of orbitals. Consequently, the energy of the EG set of orbitals increases, while that of the T2g set decreases relative to the average energy in the spherical crystal field. Thus, under the influence of the ligands, the degeneracy of the 5 d orbitals of the metal ion is lost, and they are split into 2 groups of different energies. This effect is known as crystal field splitting. The extent of the splitting in energies is represented by the symbol delta O. The subscript O indicates octahedral geometry. Due to this splitting, the energy of the 2 EG orbitals will increase by 3/5 of delta O, while that of the three T2G orbitals will decrease by 2/5 of delta O. The magnitude of crystal field splitting depends upon the field strength of the ligand and the charge on the metal ion. Ligands that cause only a small degree of crystal field splitting are termed weak field ligands, while ligands that cause a large splitting are called strong field ligands. In general, the common ligands can be arranged in ascending order of field strength as shown here. The order remains practically constant for different metals, and this series is called the spectrochemical series. It is an experimentally determined series based on the absorption of light by complexes with different ligands. Now, let's assign electrons in the d orbitals of the metal ion with d4 configuration in the octahedral coordination entities. Obviously, the first, second, and third electrons occupy the low energy T2G orbitals in accordance with Hund's rule. However, for the fourth electron, there are two possibilities. The first possibility is that it may enter a T2G orbital and pair up with an existing electron there. The other possibility is that it may enter the higher EG orbitals. The exact path followed by the electron depends on the relative magnitude of the crystal field splitting, delta O, and the energy required for the electron pairing in a single orbital, that is, pairing energy P. If the crystal field splitting energy is less than the pairing energy, then the fourth electron enters one of the higher energy EG orbitals, giving the configuration T2G3 EG1. Ligands for which the crystal field splitting energy is less than the pairing energy are known as weak field ligands. The complexes formed with these ligands would be high-spin complexes. If the crystal field splitting energy is higher than the pairing energy, then the fourth electron enters a T2G orbital and pairs up with one of the electrons, giving the configuration T2G4 EG0. Ligands for which the crystal field splitting energy is higher than the pairing energy are known as strong field ligands. The complexes formed with these ligands would be the low-spin complexes. Now, let's look at the crystal field splitting in tetrahedral complexes. The approach of the ligands in a tetrahedral field is as shown in the figure. You can observe from the figure that the ligands interact more with the T2G orbitals than the EG orbitals lying between the axes. This is because the T2G orbitals are oriented along the direction of the approach of the ligands. Thus, in tetrahedral splitting, the T2G orbitals are of higher energy, and the two EG orbitals are of lower energy. you can say that the d orbital splitting in tetrahedral geometry is exactly the reverse of octahedral splitting. The crystal field splitting in tetrahedral complexes, which is denoted by delta T, is smaller than that of octahedral complexes. The difference in energy can be represented by delta T is equal to 4 by 9 times of octahedral splitting. This splitting energy is not large enough to force the electrons to get paired up. Thus, low spin configurations are rarely observed.